Today's question is, can I use more than one domain name for my website? And the quick answer is yes. But how you do it is going to depend on where the website is hosted because different hosting providers support different things. And I am going to demonstrate that just a little bit. I don't want to get too technical on this. This is not a how to video, but I do want to show you that where it's hosted is going to determine how you set this up. So I've got this website, steamazing.org. It is a STEAM education program for kids in K through 8 in Anne Arundel County, Maryland, where I live. And it used to be called Pongo's Learning Lab. And before it was called Pongo's Learning Lab, it was called Coder Kids Club. And so I have domain names registered for each of those program names. People used to go to coderkidsclub.com. They used to go to pongoslearninglab.com. I didn't want to lose all of the organic traffic that we were getting for the website when I changed the name and changed the domain name. So I redirected those other domains to the new website. So you can see here, if I go to steamazing.org, which is the primary domain for this website, it takes me to the website. If I go to pongoslearninglab.com, you can see that it redirects to the same website. If I go to coderkidsclub.com, it once again redirects to steamazing.org. And these are all done using what's called a 301 redirect. 301 redirect just lets search engines and other things know that it is a permanent redirect. I'm not going to open pongoslearninglab.com back up. It's going to redirect always to steamazing.org. And that can help with your search engine optimization. So do keep that in mind. Now, this website is a WordPress website. It is hosted at Kinsta. And the way that you set up the redirects on Kinsta are you add something called a CNAME to the DNS for the website, which is hosted on Cloudflare. So we can see here, there's our CNAME entry, and it's for pongoslearninglab.com. And it is pointing to my hosting on Kinsta. And then in the Kinsta account, we set up a redirect. And again, you can see it's a 301 redirect for pongoslearninglab.com. And it redirects from anything that's pointing at this website, and it redirects it to steamazing.org. Now notice that I've got this $1 here. And also notice that I've got the HTTPS here. So that means if somebody went to http colon, so let me type this in, http colon / Pongos Learning Lab, if I can type it, .com, you can see that it redirects to https steamazing.org. That's exactly what I want. The other thing that this does, that $1 means if I go to pongoslearninglab.com /about, it will actually redirect not to the homepage of steamazing.org, but it redirects to steamazing.org /about. So adding that $1 on the end there means anything that is after the org, the .org, it's going to redirect. It's going to include that in whatever is in the redirect. Now, another way that you can add a 301 redirect to your website or add another domain name to your website, you can also do this through the DNS. And there are ways to set it up with Cloudflare, but I actually have this set up already for my Steamazing website with coderkidsclub.com. So you can see if I go to coderkidsclub.com instead of Pongos Learning Lab, it's going to redirect to steamazing.org. But if I go to coderkidsclub.com /about, you can see that I get a 404 not found error. And that's because this redirect was set up differently. I didn't add a CNAME in Cloudflare to point at my Kinsta hosting. I just went into GoDaddy, where the DNS is hosted for this particular domain, and I added a 301 redirect there. The problem is the 301 redirect doesn't have, you can't add any placeholders. So I couldn't add that $1 to the end of it to redirect it to the about page or contact or anything like that. That's stuff that would normally be handled on the web server side of things. So this is why I was saying it really depends on where your website is hosted. Now, I also have a website on Flywheel, which is another WordPress hosting provider, and they do things a little bit differently. So for this one, this is chrissyray.com. And ChrissyRay.com is the primary domain, but I've also got ChrissyRay.net. So this is another reason you might want to add more than one domain pointing to the same website. It might be a completely different domain, but it might just be the .com, .net, .org versions of your domain. We can see they're all pointing to ChrissyRay.com. That's the primary. So if I go to ChrissyRay.com, you can see it opens up this website. If I go to ChrissyRay.org, oops, I want to go to the main website, ChrissyRay.org. You can see it redirects to ChrissyRay.com. And this is all done by Flywheel. It automatically let me set up the DNS on GoDaddy. For these, it's got an A record that is pointing to the IP address on GoDaddy. So it's a little bit different. And all of them on Flywheel, all of them are redirecting to the ChrissyRay.com. And it does automatically have it set up. So if I go to ChrissyRay.com/goals, it takes me to this goals page. If I go to ChrissyRay.net/goals, it takes me to ChrissyRay.com/goals. It's doing all of that on the web server side of things. If you're doing this on another website builder like Wix or Squarespace, check with your documentation for that or check with support. They can help you set it up. If you have trouble setting this up for your website, if you've got multiple domain names that you want to point at a single website, I think the best place to start is going to be checking with your web hosting provider and get some insight or ask them for some help on how to set it up with their particular environment. I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you have any other questions.